Hi everyone and welcome to your latest planning outlook updated on Friday evening the 31st of January. It is Groundhog Day this weekend, 2nd of February, and it will very much feel that way on the mountains, I suspect, over the next week to 10 days and possibly even further ahead than that, as we just go through repetitive cycles of freeze and thaw, some colder west by northwesterlies, and then interspersed with milder pushes of southwesterly winds. Often windy, frequent precipitation coming in from the west, sometimes snow and hail, sometimes rain up to higher slopes. We'll start off with a look through temperatures, and this the 850 millibar level, corresponding nicely to the tops of the Scottish mountains at this time. Freezing level on Saturday morning starts off around 11 or 1200 metres, but will drop from the north as the wind turns northwesterly briefly through the course of the day. Chilly air then very much in place across Scotland overnight into Sunday, and more or less stays there through Sunday daytime. We've got a warm front trying to push back up from the south, though that never quite makes it to Scotland, so the precipitation that comes in will largely fall as snow across the mountains through Sunday daytime there. Now, as we go through onwards into Monday, a bit of a messy situation, but it leaves a freezing level of around 800 to 1,000 metres, give or take, slightly higher and lower at times through the course of Monday. Northwesterlies then for a time, this through into Monday night and Tuesday, a marked lowering of freezing level down to between around 600 and 800 metres for Tuesday. That will then get pushed out of the way as we go through the middle of the week as it turns back eventually to a southwesterly and temperatures and freezing levels rise once again. That will give a day or so of thaw, but I suspect as you head onwards toward the weekend, we go back below freezing again, particularly across Scottish tops, as chillier air just tries to come around from the Atlantic, but it's that cycle of freeze and thaw that I think will continue. Your charts then go like this. This is Saturday. We've got gale force winds, severe gales across the mountains, across England and Wales, and initially across Scotland. The strongest winds there in the morning across the Highlands will tend to come down as we just go into a slacker northwesterly pattern, basically just behind that front coming down from the north. It gives some constant rain, turning increasingly to snow as those temperatures fall across the Highlands through the day, and some clusters of showers that come in pretty frequently to the western hills of England and Wales, becoming a bit more persistent too for the Lake District as that front just encroaches in through Saturday afternoon. Breaking up a bit further north into a scattering of showers, those of snow and hail following that main front. Now notice the frontal system away towards the southwest. Things on the move quite quickly as we go through Saturday night into Sunday. That warm front itself largely moves across France, but the front that does trail in across the British Isles contains some milder air within it, even though it's largely an occluded feature. So temperatures will tend to rise behind that front as it pushes northwards, but as you saw, the chillier air that's in place across Scotland means the scope for snowfall across the mountains. That's setting in really as the day is progressing, soonest across the southern parts of the Highlands. The far north may well escape largely dry until much later on. A zone of rain and some sleet and snow on higher slopes for northern England. That will tend to break up, some showers though following across Wales and getting into Pennine areas through the day. Wind speeds generally not as strong, but could still be gale force, particularly across higher tops in England and Wales, and may well strengthen across Scotland too. Low pressure then sort of winds itself up toward the northwest overnight and into Monday. That front is then encircling it, and it will be areas of showers merging to some constant spells of rain and snow across the higher Scottish mountains. Freezing levels at this stage, as we mentioned, around 800 to 1,000 metres, and may well be briefly higher for a time on Monday, but will then tend to lower again as that wind gradually turns more west by northwesterly. Isobars tightly packed, and that means a windy day once again, gales or severe gales across many mountains, showers then rattling from west to east, driest conditions the further east that you go. Low pressure pulls away into the North Sea on Tuesday, that temporary push of much chillier northwesterly winds then for Tuesday daytime. A showery day overall, the showers merging into bands coming in from the Irish Sea, running into the Lake District, across into the Pennines and across Wales as well. Just depending exactly where the front is positioned, may well organise some showers too for northern Scotland. Areas towards the central and the southeastern Highlands generally getting away drier with some sunshine, likewise around the Borders and the Cheviots, and parts of the eastern Pennines not doing too bad either. A cold day then, severe wind chill with that northwesterly likely to be gale or even severe gale force. Pressure is building from the west, though, in midweek, and eventually will lead to some milder air moving in, but I suspect for Wednesday that chilly air from Tuesday, or the leftovers of it, is still around, so temperatures still sub-zero on the mountains. I suspect a pretty widespread frost overnight. We might just start to import some cloud into western coastal districts. We may look at some inversion conditions by this stage starting to set themselves up again just under that brief anticyclonic situation, mostly focused perhaps across England and Wales. We'll just watch the detail naturally at this far away. But Wednesday, if all goes to plan with this sequence, looks one of the quieter days of recent times, in that the high is over the top of us. Broadly a dry story then, some low cloud around western areas, sunshine amounts should be pretty good for many places, given the relatively dry air mass that came through with that northwesterly on Tuesday. Eventually, through the second half of the week, that high will push eastwards, and the southwesterly lying to the west of Britain will then take charge. And you'll see that as we step back and look at this bigger picture. Now, the high builds briefly. It almost breaks like a wave, basically, and the whole rippling sequence of the atmosphere does, to some extent, behave in wave-like features. That topples eastwards through the middle of the week, and then there we go. The southwesterly comes back in towards the latter part of the week. A strengthening southwesterly, the jet stream back in charge. The high, just a transient feature, and temperatures then lifting markedly above freezing to all levels, basically, I would suggest, in the second half of the week. Gale force winds, severe gale force winds, some rain coming back in. No doubt there'll be some frontal systems skirting at least to the northwest of Britain. It may stay relatively drier for England and Wales, but some low cloud, I think, will fill in across most of the western hills to very low levels, with that damp air mass coming in from the southwest. Eastern areas doing best for some cloud breaks. A temporary inversion may still have been around, say, about Thursday, but that'll get pushed out of the way. Looks as though as fronts pass eastwards, chillier air may come back in through the weekend. We'll watch the detail of that, but I think we do try and open the door to some of the air masses just coming back round from the North Atlantic again. It's still broadly westerly, but low pressure to the north is dominant, and will just allow those air masses to chop and change. So I would think through the weekend and just beyond, expect ongoing cycles of freeze and thaw, some periods of snowfall across the mountains, particularly the higher Scottish tops, but also mixed in with some rain at times. Some of the operational models, as we call it, which pick out a bit more detail than this, do wind up a couple of powerful centres of low pressure, so we could be looking at some quite stormy conditions through that period around that weekend and just beyond towards about the 10th of February. Stay up to date with us then every day on all the local forecasts on our website. You can follow us on all the social media feeds as well. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.